So, good evening, everybody. Hello, Planet Watchers. Hope you're lots of people listening and joining because we have quite a few interesting things to discuss. So, first things first. Okay, so what's been happening in the last few days? We've been doing a lot of technical work, and we just completed a huge infrastructure update. And the first deliverable you will see for this update was that a new map, a new PlanetWatch Explorer, Planet Explorer, had just been released. The map, you have already seen a preview video, so there's no point, I guess, in talking more about a map which has been explained at length. Let me just have a sneak peek together with you at a PlanetWatch Explorer. So the PlanetWatch Explorer is a tool that tells you how the PlanetWatch network is doing, evolving and growing. You have a number of key indicators on that, and as a reminder, the link to the PlanetWatch Explorer is on our website, obviously. So you can see that we have delivered over 100 million air quality data streams to the platform. You can see token-related information. So between 200 and 300 million planets circulating at the moment, so 0.2 billion, you see, up to a total maximum supply of 4.5 billion. Over 3 million planets given as rewards. That's what we call minted supply. Planet price, PlanetWatch price. Total number of sensors, over 2,900 sensors as of now. And you can see the breakdown of sensors that you always ask us about. Very good question. So as you can see at the moment, the vast majority of the network is made out of Type 4 sensors, atmotubes essentially. And of course, in the coming weeks and months, this ratio will change because we are going to push strongly on Type 1, Type 2, and Type 3. So that's a sneak peek. Have a look, enjoy. There is a lot of interesting information in the PlanetWatch Explorer. Okay, coming now to a few announcements, and of course, answering as many of your questions as possible. Let's see. Should I announce something or should just not do it? Well, you deserve some announcements. You are great people. And I like when people enjoy what we say. So, as I said, we have delivered major pieces of software. This is not the whole thing. I've been told that we are delivering so far the front end of the map and of the Explorer. Later on, we'll be able to deliver back-end functionalities. I don't really know what I'm talking about, but I know that once we deliver the whole thing, you will have even more engaging information. So that's an appetizer, but there is more in the makings. And obviously, the new app is in the making. It's still being tested, and it should be finally released by the end of August. And it should it should give, again, a lot of extra relevant information to you guys. And if there will be residual issues and problems, of course, we'll discuss it and we'll do our best to fix everything. So this is important. During the update, the transition today, the system migration that took place today, there were some issues with Type 2 air quality data. So to be very honest, some data, I believe, were lost. But as I told you several times, if we lose something, you're not going to lose out. So I've decided that tomorrow, all Type 2 sensor owners will get max rewards because we cannot, of course, reconstruct how many data were lost because of ourselves and how many actual streams were sent. So tomorrow, everybody gets the max. Now, there will be a reward stream coming at the usual time, which will be incomplete, let's say, and then we'll be topping that up in the afternoon. Again, that's only about Type 2 sensors because there was a technical problem with them. Okay, got it? Great. Now, announce. I have I would say a couple of cool announcements, one now and one at the end, right? So we mentioned that there were two listings in the making. So the second exchange that we are partnering with is called Emirex, Emirex. It is not a very large platform, but it's a good one, and it has a very strong customer base, in particular in the Middle East. So we are trying to touch communities worldwide. So Bitmart and Emirex are partnering with us. To be on the safe side, I would say that our token will be listed at the latest by the end of September on both, hopefully earlier, but that cannot be guaranteed by them because they had to integrate Algorand into their systems, which is not integrated as of today. So at the latest by the end of September. Having said that, we might have a little trick up our sleeve to enable global token circulation earlier. But I won't tell you now because we need to validate some points. So we are looking into a number of options, but so far what is certain is that our token will be listed by the end of September on the two exchanges that you now know about. Bitmart, catering for North American Planet Watchers, and Emirex. So that's what is for sure. We like to surprise, so we always try to undercommit and overperform, as they say. So we'll keep it that way. Now, let's cut the blah blah. Let's get into answering concrete questions. Okay, I've been grouping your questions by topics. So the first batch of questions is about Auraquino batches, sure enough. So when will the July batch of Auraquinos start shipping? Very good question. It just started today, and hopefully we'll be completing the shipping for this batch by the end of next week. It could have been faster, it could have been slower. There are lots of unknowns in this market, and there are lots of processes which are complex. So I hope this is good enough. So we open sales by the end of July as promised, and we'll be able to complete shipping by maybe by before mid-August. Okay, connected to this question, there's a question about future batches of Auraquinos. Now I'm going to take some risk here, but I want you to get me right. So I will now state what is my goal, but to me a goal is not a promise. So this is not a formal commitment, it's a goal. So if you are not comfortable with goals and you prefer certainties, please do not buy additional licenses. I'm being very blunt here. We don't want people to put money in the system if they're not comfortable with. So again, if you think that we'll be able to achieve our goals and you can just count on the fact that we will do our best, you may want to get a license, get in the waiting list and all that. If you prefer promises and strong and firm commitments, hold it, wait. Anyway, that's what my goal is. My goal is to get into the system, into our system, at least 1,000 additional devices for type 1, 1,000 for type 3, and 1,000 for type 4 by the end of this year. Split between the Europe PlanetWatch community and the rest of the world. So between September and the end of the year, I want to get 1,000 plus devices in each of the 1, 3, and 4 types. Type 2 is trickier because we are trying to get out a new device, so I don't know if we'll be able to deliver 1,000 and more by the end of the year. That I don't know yet, and I don't even put a firm goal on that. But I put a goal on 1, 3, and 4. You can trust that we'll do our best. You cannot be sure that we'll manage. We might be able to do 3,000 instead of 1,000. We might be able to, unfortunately, deliver less than 1,000. So that is the message. Also, we are waiting, hopefully before mid-August, as far as I'm told, to get feedback about US certification for Auraquino, which is, of course, a key issue. And the other thing is that we keep reviewing sensors, and we are looking to onboard additional brands of sensors across all the types, ideally. So that's background work, which is a priority as well. So some type 1 specific questions. Let's see. What is the minimum and maximum height above the ground where it can be installed a type 1 sensor to function properly and get max rewards. So the ideal height, as I said last time, I believe it's between 3 and 5 to 6 meters. But this is not imperative. I mean, it can be higher up. Just let us know what you do. I mean, if you put it on the 30th floor of a skyscraper, why don't you please open a ticket and let us know? Because the more information we have about sensor deployment, the better understanding we can develop of your data. So it's in everybody's interest. There is a question whether Auraquinos might have in the future an Ethernet or Wi-Fi interface as a connectivity backup. I'm not aware of this kind of developments in the making for Auraquinos, but once again, we keep evaluating devices for all types, so we'll see. We want to onboard as many devices as is reasonable by keeping our quality standards. Okay, it's again related to this. Somebody's asking about setting up an Auraquinos in Brazil. Again, as of today, the answer is this is not possible. The sensor is not compliant, it's not certified. But once again, there might be additional sensors soon which are globally certified. Calibration, that's an area, I understand you perceive it as a gray area, and I'll tell you why it's we didn't communicate more than what we did. Somebody's asking whether type 1 sensor will be sent out for periodic calibration, or calibration will be done remotely and things. Now, as a general rule, type 1 and type 3 sensors might need to be sent back to the lab. And also, as I said, we cannot spell out the cost and the schedule for this, because this thing depends on a number of parameters which are unknown. I mean, the need for calibration is related to the use case, to what the sensor senses, and it also depends to some extent on the maker, on the manufacturer. So we cannot give you a schedule like every 12 months you have to send it back. It will cost you 50 euros, or maybe it will cost you nothing because we cover up 100%. Again, I cannot. This is all again at the level of the goals. My goal is that calibration we manage in the most seamless possible way. We take up most of the cost, but I cannot spell out the conditions for calibration today. If you are confident enough that we'll manage it correctly, this is what I can say. We might be able to update this information and get a bit more specific a bit later on with the help of the manufacturers, but I cannot spell it out today. Okay, then there is an interesting question again about type 1. Somebody's asking whether, this person wants to get a few devices, type 1 devices. He's asking whether it's better to put them all in tier 1 pixels next to each other, or spread them as much as possible across the city. That's a good question. And let me say that the answer, I would say it's up to you. I mean, ultimately, we as PlanetWatch want to cover all tier 1 pixels in the world and more. That's what our global long-term goal as a company. However, you know your territory, you know your city. So if you can deploy more than one sensor, and you think that a specific neighborhood deserves special attention, then try to cover that neighborhood as much as possible. If you don't have this kind of feeling, you may just want to spread it evenly. So this is part of being a decentralized network. You can take your own decisions on this. We have in the token model some guidelines that help maximize the scientific output, but there is some degree of freedom in what you do with your sensors. Okay, now let's move on to type 3. There's one person who believes that boosting the type 3 rewards was a bad choice because this could adversely affect the price of the token or something like that. And another person is simply asking whether is there any scientific case, does it make sense to gather indoor air quality data from private households? He says, who cares about it? Okay, legitimate question. Now, I'm getting very, very serious here. The reason why we support and incentivize indoor air quality monitoring, including in households, is that because we know that there is a serious case in terms of science and in terms of business. So the proposal for extra rewards for type 3, which first we're going to do it first out of our own company budget, and then we propose to make it structural, it stems from a data value assessment. It's not a marketing trick to boost sales. As you've seen, I already encourage you not to buy if you're not comfortable. So I'm not trying to boost sales in any way. So it's really about the science of it and the relevance of it that we believe is high. And since I'm a naughty boy, which I stated already last time as well, I will now inflict you the reading of a few lines, a few paragraphs from a research proposal on indoor air quality monitoring, where PlanetWatch is one of the key players together with some academic institutions. So this is very serious. It's not a joke. We are not a crypto mining game. We have real scientific and business goals. Deal with it, if you like. So what I'm reading now wasn't written by me, was written by an academic air quality expert, and it's very, very important. That's why we do this. Air quality has a strong impact on human health. Published data have pointed to a strong correlation between the inhaled chemicals and the risk of a variety of diseases. The most common indoor pollutants have been described to negatively impact the respiratory tract, immune system, endocrine balance, leading to metabolic disorders as well as neurological problems and fetal development issues. Some of the chemicals have also proven carcinogenic effects. The most sensitive groups seem to be pregnant and breastfeeding women, babies, and children. They spend most of their time indoors, at home, at kindergartens, and so on, and their metabolism may not be strong enough, in case of strong exposure to pollutants, to adequately clear toxic substances from the organism. Most of the substances are removed from the body through urine, but in case of high and/or constant exposure, as well as lower metabolism, as mentioned above, these pollutants can be accumulated in the adipose tissue, transferred via the placenta to developing fetus, or via milk to babies, increasing also the health risk and treatment costs for the next generations. So this is why we are gathering indoor air quality data, and we have experts who ask us to join their project because they believe that the data that we can gather will be scientifically relevant. That's it. And let me add, if they are scientifically relevant, I believe they will also have business value. So that's what closes the circle. Okay, to be very transparent, however, you should also know that our type 3 sensors do not detect specific high-risk pollutants directly. There are some substances which are very dangerous and carcinogenic. Our type 3 sensors detect a number of relevant substances, but not specific chemicals. However, their data, as I said, are deemed relevant as a first assessment of indoor air quality in households worldwide. Okay, that was the most serious part. I mean, this is about our ambition, and our belief is that we can contribute to contributing. Of course, we're not making history here tomorrow. We believe we can give a meaningful contribute to better protecting global health as air quality is concerned. Okay, now let me guess in less serious mode. Question. Okay, that's the question about, again, calibration, which I already spoke about. So let me put it a different way. What do type 1 and type 3 sensors have in common? One is outdoor, one is indoor. I'll tell you what they have in common. They are premium, professional grade sensors. So in order to ensure they deliver premium data in terms of quality, that's why they get premium rewards. So in order to keep data quality constant, they require more maintenance, generally speaking. And as I said, the the details of maintenance requirements, for example, in terms of sensor recalibration, depend on many variables, so they cannot be spelled out tomorrow on the website. But again, rest assured, it is in our interest that those who get these sensors and stream useful data, it's in our interest that they will be willing to continue for a long time. So whenever there is an issue about maintenance or where costs are involved and inconvenience, we will try to minimize both the cost and the inconvenience. So that's what I said. Okay, that's again about how many devices. Somebody wants to buy a Type 3 license but would like to know how many Kythera devices will be available in the near future. Okay, initially we spoke about 500 devices, and I already stated my goal, which is to go well beyond 1,000 before the end of the year. Again, it's a goal, it's not yet a promise. You do what you are comfortable with. A couple of questions about Type 4. People are asking, how are we going to check that people don't put too many Atmo tubes in the same environment? So the answer is, we are developing software to detect strange streams. And if we detect these streams, we will take a very reasonable approach. We start from, to begin with, we start from trust. So we'll be asking, we might contact you and ask you a question. Tell us how you are using these Atmo tubes. If you have a convincing explanation for why the data seem maybe very close to each other, that's fine. If you don't have a reasonable explanation, of course, there will be an action. But we are not in the business of policing the community for the sake of it. We are in the business of making sure that the body of data is meaningful. Okay, so if we feel there is a problem, we'll get in touch. No worries, we'll talk. Okay, so another good question. So knowing where pollution is, it is important. But what concrete action will you do to help clean the air and protect the planet? Because data with no action is useless. That's fair enough. So what is the goal? Is that we deliver data which provide useful information which in the short term can be used to mitigate risks. So if we find a pollution hotspot in the city and we understand that it's due to traffic, we will recommend local administrator to change the traffic partner, to change vehicle circulation or regulations. So the idea is that data can be used to lobby, to convince, to put pressure, to inform about risks, to detect risk, to inform, and to drive action in the right direction. That is the logic of it. There is a question about VAT not being charged in the US store, of course. So once again, about sensor prices. So first of all, we sell sensors whenever we cannot help it, because it's not an easy job. It's not where our mind is. We're not the champions of wholesale of sensor sales. So when we sell sensors, because it means we do it because we can buy in bulk and give more security and better price for you guys. If we're talking about Auraquinos here, the bare price that we charge is 1,350 euros. Anything that comes on top is tax and customs, essentially. So in Europe, once again, we have to tax we have to add value-added tax, VAT, which depends on where you live, incidentally. And then we are able to ensure free delivery. Outside Europe, there is no value-added tax. However, delivery costs might be and customs might be significant, and then you have to bear large fraction of it, unfortunately. So for the US, essentially, the euro price is being converted to USD, plus there might be some shipping costs on top. That is the bottom line for Type 1. Where will the next batch of Type 4 sensor be sold? So as I said, we have a 200 pieces batch which is being processed. That would be sold on our websites .io and .us. As soon as Atmotube, the maker, has their own stock, of course, they will sell it from their own website. Oh my God, there is again a question about Emrit. Ooh. Okay, I spoke several times about Emrit. Emrit is one of our potentially many corporate partners, and we're being approached by a lot of companies, which is good news, and we believe we'll be able to manage all partnerships in the right way, which is by preserving the decentralization of the network, the service level to, say, retail Planet Watchers, so you guys. So don't think too much about partnerships. Whenever it makes sense, we'll make announcements, but nobody's kidnapping us, let me put it this way, or kidnapping PlanetWatch. Can I have multiple devices and licenses, tie them to one wallet and deploy to friends' houses? Yes, why not? As long as you stay within the rules and the token model, which you have to, yeah. Claudio, can you please finally get the Discord link shared prominently for all to see? Yes, you're dead right. Sorry about that. So the Discord link has been pinned on Telegram for some time, but as of tonight, it's also on the homepage on the website. So on the bottom of the page, you have all the links to the social media. Now there is also a Discord link. Sorry for not doing that earlier. Any plans for Planet staking? Staking. So we are discussing DeFi options. I will keep it very vague intentionally, because there are lots of interesting options in the DeFi world. There are some regulation hurdles, let's put it this way. So we might be able to announce something cool soon, but we need to still make some checks. Can you clarify? Okay, this question is a recurrent one, but okay, it makes sense to answer it again. Somebody's wondering, since in Europe prices for sensors and licenses are spelled out, are payable in planets, people are asking what happens if the planet's price increases. Will it be more expensive in the sense that the planet's price stays constant or not? The answer is no, in the sense that the prices are indexed, pegged to euros. So 1,350 euros plus VAT for Auraquinos, for example, that stays regardless of planet's price. So in fact, if planet's price, if you hold planets and the planet's price go up, you are winning because your planets are worth more. So you will need fewer tokens to buy sensors and licenses. This is the way it works at the moment. If one day, because I would never say never, if one day we see good reasons to change this, you'll get notified well in advance. So there will be no sudden changes on this. The prices are in euros, so but even when you pay in planets, the price, you are paying a euro price, if you see what I mean. Okay, somebody has probably buying as a company and putting their own VAT number and not getting what he should get in the order. I mean, for this kind of issues, please just open a ticket. We have a ticketing system which works very well, I believe. So if you have a question about the details of your orders or technical details, please open a ticket and that will be answered as soon as possible. Another question is whether the number of available devices could be shown on the website. Now, that's the kind of thing that we will do if and when the information we can deliver is 100% reliable. So I was talking about goals for stocks, which are not yet promises. So I cannot put numbers if I have goals and I have no certainties. So the day we have 1,000 sensors in my backyard ready to ship, I will say, hey, we have 1,000 sensors in the backyard. Until that time, it's best not to state how many sensors we have in stock. Again, another open question, which is very nice, how people can get involved further into helping PlanetWatch evolve, again, it's up to, as I said last time, I mean, there are actions you can make in terms of connecting to your own communities if you are an influencer, or networking with business people who might want to participate in the sensor reselling or dispatching activities. The sky's the limit. I mean, if I think you understand what are our challenges in terms of communication, in terms of logistics for the sensor part. So if you have great ideas, just write to business@planetwatch.io. One question is whether early adopters will have some special early adopter opportunities in the future. Well, for example, one opportunity that you guys have as early adopters, because you all are, is the fact that most of the tier 1 pixels worldwide are still empty. So that is an opportunity. That is an early bird opportunity. In addition, we might launch in the future initiatives where only a small group of people might be allowed to join for some beta testing of things, and there might be incentives to join. And for those projects, we might invite early adopters first to participate and give them incentives. So we care, we love our early adopters, and we'll treat them well, that's for sure. Okay, there are questions about the app. I would say at this point, please wait for the new app to be released. Once it's released, you will be testing it, you will give us valuable feedback, and we'll see together what can be improved, okay? Okay, I've come to the end of my question list. I promised another disclosure. So, okay, this I'll be told off, because normally for these things you do a cool press release and then people read the press release, but I don't care. So you'll be the first to find out that we just completed, PlanetWatch as a company, our French company, just completed a fundraising round. We raised in dollars about $1.3 million, which was exactly what we aim to raise, because that's the money that will enable us to quickly scale up operations and strengthen the team. So we didn't want to raise zillions of euros, because there's no point for a number of reasons. So we raised just what we needed. We're very grateful to our investors. And this is good for two reasons, obviously. First, because it helps us scale up operations, and also because it shows that there is a business case for PlanetWatch, because this is a traditional round, capital increase round. It's not selling tokens or candies or something else. This is a standard startup style funding round. So if you find investors, it means that people think that this activity is viable and it has potential. And we did, and we will write a PR, and we'll be reading a nice PR and all that. So, well, okay. I think that moving along, there are perhaps fewer questions, but they're possibly more difficult to answer, because you guys are all very expert and very sharp. So the questions are all very relevant, and I'm doing the best to answer. And what else? Once again, let me restate my goal, because goals are what drive people actions. My goal is to remove bottlenecks in terms of sensor availability, and the strategy is twofold. On one hand, we want to onboard additional additional sensors, models of sensors, as long as they are complying with our guidelines, and we have good prospects to do it. So you will have more choice, and some of these sensors will have a global certification, making it easier to go global. On the other hand, we are working to secure stocks with our existing partners to have a good amount of sensors available between now and the end of 2021. So that's it. That's what we are working upon. It's in principle holiday time in my part of the world, but who cares about holidays? We are riding a big wave. You are powering this wave, so there's no There's no way we are going to just sit down and relax until we get a few things done, which are the ones I just described here. So thanks a lot. Keep watching the planet and keep opening tickets if you have concerns. And don't stress. I mean, don't spend €1 or $1 unless you are comfortable with the idea that we are a startup and there are some uncertainties in the game, some of them related to our own challenges, some of them related to the global outlook of markets. So don't worry, we don't need your extra buck tomorrow. Just invest, well, not invest, buy things when you are comfortable to. And have a nice evening. Bye-bye.